Hello, Justine again. I just wanted to really share my story and my battle with anorexia today. And again, I want to really stress that it's not about comparing, because I know that within this disorder especially, we compare, and I've had many people compare me to other people, and also it's not just from an outside source, right? It's not just always about other people and if they think that you have a problem or not, or if you're healthy or not. I mean, that does contribute to a lot of things, but when you deal with an eating disorder, I think something that's obviously in your own mind is you comparing yourself to other people. You compare yourself sometimes to models or to other anorexics even, and there's this idea that we have to get worse. And, sometimes I was definitely under the mentality that I'm not bad enough. I'm not bad enough yet. I think the bottom line is it's not so much about comparing your weight or how much food you eat or how much, you intake during a day, how many calories you intake every day. If you have a disordered mind, then that's what the issue is. I don't think we should be comparing our weight or our size or if we're bad enough or not good enough, because that's what it all comes down to, is a feeling of unworthiness, really. So anyways, that's something that I wanted to stress right off the bat. So if you're dealing with an eating disorder, or if you're thinking about starting an eating disorder, please know that, first of all, you're worthy as you are. And that's something that we need to practice reminding ourselves of. And even as a recovered anorexic, I still, have to work my butt off years down the line. Even though I've been recovered for a very long time now, it's still something that I have to practice. I have to, continue to remind myself that I'm worthy, even when I don't feel it, and even when other people don't think it. We are always worthy, no matter what, bottom line, because we all come from the same place, essentially. We all come from a place of love, and something that has really helped me recover is my spiritual journey. And that may not be something that resonates with everybody, and, I'm not here to say this is the one way to recover, this is the one way to be, or anything like that. Everyone has their own story and their own way to get better. So my goal is just to share my story, and, just in hopes that can shine a little bit of light for somebody, and really maybe inspire someone and encourage someone to, make a positive, healthy choice and to love themselves. I've never really opened up about my story. There are many people in my family that don't even know that I dealt with anorexia, and there are many people that are friends of mine that don't know that this is something that I went through, and I don't think that keeping it a secret is benefiting anybody by any means. I don't think it's benefiting me. I don't think it's benefiting anyone in my family at all, and I don't think it's something to be ashamed of. This is something that I went through and I battled through on my own, and it's something that I saved myself from. This is something that has made me who I am today. It was part of my life for a reason, and so this is why I want to be open about it. So it started in about grade 8, and everyone has their own story, right? Like sometimes they say that it usually stems from something really traumatic happening. And for a very long time I didn't realize what had happened, really. I didn't understand why I fell into an eating disorder. And looking back, I think it's for various reasons. It may not just be one reason for anybody. I think it's kind of a combination of things. And that's what I think it was for me anyway. I think the way society was starting to become, and seeing magazines and seeing models and seeing just negative stuff like that, where there's this, again, comparing thing going on. Also, hearing friends compare themselves to me and me to them, and family as well, some extended family always commenting on people's weight, sometimes mine and sometimes the weight of a stranger. These kinds of things people don't realize can really affect someone, especially a young girl. These kind of things stick in their mind, and it's not just something that comes out and goes in one ear and out the other. I mean, some of these things can really stay in someone's mind, so I think it's very, very important to be cautious of what you say in general, and especially around young girls. So anyway, I, was starting to compare myself, and I think what triggered me was a friend of mine that thought I was too thin. And this was before I had even started starving myself. This was when I was, healthy and living a normal life of a grade 8 student, One of my friends, for some reason, I've always been naturally thin, and she thought I was too thin or something, and I took it the wrong way because she was on a weight loss website and she was kind of putting in my information, and so from my point of view I took it the wrong way and took it as her telling me that I need to lose weight because she's on a weight loss website and she's putting in my information, right? And I think from her perspective she was trying to compare my weight to the average weight of someone else and trying to basically say that I was underweight for my age or whatever. So that's kind of what triggered it. And obviously that sounds very silly, but that's something that stuck in my mind. And for a very long time I kind of blamed her for it, but it really has nothing to do with her at all. At all. That was just a trigger moment, because at that same time, what I didn't make the connection to was that my brother was in intensive care at the hospital at that time. He was in a coma, a diabetic coma, and he also has autism. He almost died, and at that time, I guess, he was getting a lot of attention, obviously, and I think that that was my way of trying to cope with him being in the hospital and him almost dying, and my parents obviously needing to be there for him. I kind of fell through the cracks a bit and felt probably as if no one was really there for me, and I didn't know how to cope with everything in my life kind of falling apart at that time. That's how it really started for me. And I had a few interventions. I had an intervention in grade 8 with my teachers and my girlfriends, and they would all, they came together and said, hey, listen, we obviously see that there's an issue here. And nothing really came of it, sadly. I think I got a little bit better. I went on a family trip after my brother was better, before I started high school, and being on a trip for a month, being on vacation for a month really helped because I was seeing new places and discovering new things, and I wasn't really worried about my weight anymore. However, when I went into high school, it came up again, and all throughout high school I struggled, and there were a couple friends that I confided in that knew about it, and I think it became this thing where everyone kind of started to notice that, I wasn't eating my lunch or I was being very secretive. I think it kind of became a label. And what I want to also say is that no matter what you're struggling with, if you're struggling with any type of addiction or an eating disorder, you are not the disorder. And many times when you're wrapped up in it and you're in the disorder, it feels like that's who you are. When you're dealing with an eating disorder, it's very consuming and it feels like that's who you are. You are this disgusting being and you don't like yourself, and you're just in this horrible state of mind. And something that I definitely forgot was that's not who I am as a person. And many times, even if you're not dealing with any type of disorder or addiction, we as humans are so confused about who we are, and I feel like we've gotten so far from who we are and from our souls and from what we love. Many times we're always comparing ourselves to others. We're always saying, I'm my job, or I am the income that I make, and I am this, and I am that. But that's not who we are as people. I feel like we have so much more to offer, and I really believe that everyone has something to offer, and everyone deserves to be heard, and everyone has a story that deserves to be out there. But anyway, that was my story, and I carried my eating disorder all throughout high school. I used it as a way to get attention, and I used it as a way to know that people cared about me. There was a guy in my life that I really cared about, and we had a lot of ups and downs, and the only time that he would really tell me that he cared about me, essentially, was when I was struggling. When I was at my worst, that's when he was there for me, and that's when he told me he cared about me, and I used that, which was quite a mess, and quite a bad way to go about it, because you can't get love from that state of not loving yourself, and that I had to learn the hard way. After high school, all my friends moved away and I stayed in my hometown. I'm really glad I did. I ended up going to college here and started a new life. And, it's really hard to describe how I got better. That's why I'm going to do a series of videos talking about the things that I had to do to get to where I am today, because it's just, I've had to work on this for years, right, to get to where I am, so I kind of can't explain it all in one video. But essentially, I just started to really work on accepting myself and loving myself and realizing that everyone's imperfect and that's what makes us perfect. That's what makes us who we are. And I realized how strong I was. My cat died, which sounds kind of, not like a big deal, but I had him for a very, very long time. And that showed me how strong I was. Again, losing lots of friends that, went away for university, that was a big deal as well. And also allowing myself to express myself, that was a big deal because I always repressed my emotions, and my eating disorder was definitely a big part to do with that. And I never really knew how to express myself. So I learned to express myself through writing music and also through photography and through many art forms. In college, I was I was me, I was myself, and I still struggled though, because we all go through stressful times, and for me, when I get stressed out, it's easy for me to want to go back and to want to kind of relapse, and I felt like I was going to, but I found one of my professors to confide in, and just talking to her saved me and helped me not to relapse. And so that's why I think, I want to be that person that you can contact, because even though I'm not a doctor and even though I can't, help you overnight, I don't think anyone can help you overnight. This is about finding that inner strength within you that does exist within everybody, which maybe I didn't always believe and I wasn't always conscious of, but now I know that if I could help myself get through anorexia, a battle of 5 years or more, on and off, that anyone can. You can do it. It's within all of us. Each and every one of us has the strength inside of us to get better, and that's what I want to let the world know. And also I just want to be that friend and that compassionate, genuine person that you can confide in, because I know what it's like to be isolated, and I know what it's like to feel alone or like no one understands, because many people don't understand what it's like to go through an eating disorder, and it's a very, very, very rough battle. And again, it's not about just comparing battles. I don't think it's about that at all. I think it's about, just being open and honest. And yeah, so like I was saying, I had a professor that I talked to in college, and I just kind of broke down one day when I was really stressing out and I felt like I was going to relapse. And just talking to her, even though she wasn't experienced either, and even though she wasn't a doctor, just being able to open up to somebody and say, hey, I'm stressing out right now and I feel like I'm going to relapse and I feel like I'm going to go back to my old ways. Just confiding in someone can really, really go a long way. So please, if you feel like you're going to relapse or you feel like you're thinking about starting an eating disorder, please feel free to message me or ask me any questions about what I've been through or anything. I'm an open book. I want to be open about this because I don't think it's helping anyone to be secretive about it. I was secretive about it through my battle through it, and I just don't think it's really good to be secretive about it anymore. And there may be people that have judgments about it, but I'm not concerned about that, because there are people that need to know that they have the strength to get through it. I'm an open book, and please feel free to email me at justinementor@hotmail.com. You can also subscribe to my videos, and please stay tuned for more tips and more of my story. So thank you for joining me once again. Talk soon.